Hello, this is Philemon with the second entry into my D&D or just general TTRPG uh, encounter building series. So now we have our pertinence for what's going on. What needs to happen is we need to actually set up everything that's going to be happening in the encounter itself. So I've got Roll20 open. It's a fairly familiar tool set for, I'm sure, quite a few of you. But all I've got is a blank screen. Well, where do we go from here? Well, first thing I'm going to look at is I'm going to set up what I'm calling the Vigo's Lab encounter. So what I'm going to do is, and this is basically something that I do whenever I open one of these pages. 25 by 25, especially with long-range characters, is just not enough. So we're going to make this 30 by 50. Yeah, that should do it. We're going to change the board color, because white is really hard to look at. What do I want? We're going to be making a whole lot of changes to this, so why don't we just stick with the largest section as being this gray color. Let's go for the darker gray. There we go. Okay. And then want to make sure that the lines will show up against it, so we'll go with a lighter gray, or the pure white instead of the lighter gray. We want squares. We want D&D 5e4e compatible. Cell width is normal. Fog of War we want on. So let's do save settings. Awesome. So now, zoom out a little bit so we can get a better look at this. Now we have a nice long section that we can play with. And we will need to unhide some areas in the fog, because I want there to be a little bit of an encounter out, or I want to have a little time outside of the lab itself for the players to just mess around in before we actually get started. So that was just using Fog of War tool, and then if you hold Shift, it'll snap to the squares, which is a huge, super nice feature. All right, and then I'm going to move down to the map layer. Now they've got all those, instead of having to toggle through them up here, you've just got the 4 settings down at the bottom. So now we're on the map layer, and because it's outside, I'm just going to make some rectangles with, or use a dark green color. Call it thin lines, and then we're just going to make that entire same space as I made clear before. That's all going to be green, and then we're going to set up some trees. And I know it calls an ellipse, but we'll be making circles. Actual circles, not squares. Let's go with this color. All right, so we'll put one here, and this will be our important circle, and I'll explain that in a bit. But we'll just make a couple of others. Nope. Make a little one, and I'm doing that same thing where I'm just holding Shift and then pulling from one corner to the next, and it just makes a nice little circle. I feel like Bob Ross, just making some happy little trees. Make one. You know what? We'll make a bigger one. Yeah. All right. We'll call this one our special tree because it will have a special purpose. This tree will be the one that is going to be where the secret entrance into our villain's lair is hidden. And I say that because I want to do a fake out for the players when everything is getting started. So I'm going to say that the person who's giving the quest is a baron in the land of Gilder. And if you've watched The Princess Bride, you'll know that Gilder is the rival nation that Prince Humperdinck was trying to set up a war against so that he could get some form of recognition or something. His motive for that is not very well defined in the movie, but I've got a secret entrance in a tree and a quest given by someone from the land of Gilder. Now, as long as they don't recognize the name Carpathia immediately when I mention that, then they'll probably suspect that I'm trying to do some kind of Princess Bride tie-in, so they're going off to try and kill Count Ruger. So that's what the little bit of a fake out's going to be, when in reality we'll bring them in and it will be about killing Vigo. So we'll set this up, at least partially, to give the impression that Vigo is the one that is going to be up against them, but that's all just in good fun. All right, so now we have our entrance. We'll make a little tunnel. And actually, I'm going to do this tunnel a little differently. That was just doing it with rectangles. Let's do it with polygons. I love the polygon tool. Okay. So now we just click a point, another point, and then we can have it go over here, kind of meander a little bit. So it's an earthen tunnel that they'll be going through. It'll be 10 foot wide eventually. And just retracing my steps, going back through the different positions and just kind of giving it a... Let's see. That one, so we'll go to here instead, and then there. That'll work. I'll just have it shrink back down over there, and then right-click to finish, and that makes it real. Okay, and then, so we're going to have our little earthen tunnel that starts out and kind of comes down here and goes around, but then we're going to turn it into a stone area, and I say I'm starting with an earthen tunnel because, again, in the Princess Bride movie, they Count Ruger's entire secret lab was in an earthen cavern of some kind, whereas Vigo's, as I'm going to be setting it up, will be in a very stone industrial location. So what I'm going to do now, I think, is I'm going to set up more polygons, but just of pure black, to represent the outskirts of the location. So I'm just going to go back over all of the different points that I had just made, and then we're going to go to the edge of the map, and we're just going to mark that out in black so that the players know that that's not a place that they can go. That's just tunnel wall. That again over here, and to the edge, and we go like that. Perfect. Now, I like the darker gray is just a floor color, so let's set up kind of the Vigo's lab area. We got trees. Kind of orangey trees for my liking, but it seems like they have changed the color palette. And really, I had seen a video on this recently, and it becomes kind of relevant now, but if you've ever really taken the time to pay attention to the color brown, turns out it's just orange, but darker. I'm not entirely sure of what experiments you can do to prove this to yourself, but trust me, it really is just orange, but darker. All right, where am I going to set up the boundaries? That's the next question to think about. Let's say that the tunnel at this point is just gonna... Going on. Polygon line. Back. Oh, okay. That's weird. Alright, so we go from there to here, and then out. I guess I could be doing this with squares. Be a little bit faster. Okay. So then that's our little tunnel, and then this section will be... You know what? No, I don't like that anymore. I am going to readjust a little bit. And I'm going to redraw that line specifically, but in order to do that, I kind of need to take out everything around it. All right, start here, going to come down, and then meander a little bit, and then we're going to meander again. And I want to end up basically in the middle with a little bit of extra room. Made it 30 wide, so if I come in 14 squares, that'll be the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14. Come down to there, and that will be our final point. Do that same thing I was doing before and just meander the tunnel around. Get it so that it's about 10 foot square, or 10 foot wide most of the way. We'll set that up, and set that. Good. No. There and there. Boom. Okay, so it starts 5 foot wide, kind of. You know what? I didn't like this point. Let's put it to here and then there. And it's not sharp enough. Let's put it here and then there. That's a little better. Okay, there we go. And then we want to come to... Nope. About here, then here, then here. That'll work. Okay, that's a little bit better. And then it ends up in the center so that I can have this whole section down at the bottom we can play with as our actual alchemist area. So let's set up the black spaces again. This, I gotta do the crazy following the line thing. So there, boom, boom, boom. Next time hits point. There hits point, there it hits point. Then we just go straight to the edge. And we make it a thing, and then we do the same on this side. Boom, 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 boom. The edge to the top. Right click to finish. All right, so now we've got that. That's perfect. And then we'll have a little bit of section where it becomes... Just do that again, and that will be our straight stone corridor that leads into Alchemist's chamber in this section. All right, that makes me a little bit happier. Now, a couple things to set up in this part of the room. I want to have a brazier filled with coals, so we'll go with that. And I want 2 of them, so we'll put one... make the line thicker. Go. Do the same thing on the other side. And sometimes it can be a little tricky if you're zoomed way out to move objects that you've just made. So be aware. In order to zoom in and out like that, I am holding down the control button and then scrolling back with my mouse wheel. Okay, so that... see, did it again. What is this? Somehow I'm moving both... What in the world? That was weird. I don't get that. I don't know what I was selecting with that. I did not intend to do that. Let me check. Did that change? No, it didn't change anything up there. Just... Okay. Weird. idea. That looks right. That looks right. Okay. So those are equidistant away from the edge. And we're going to say that the massive painting of Vigo, what is it? Almost 9-10 foot tall painting that we see in the movie is going to be on that wall. So we're just going to take this. The checkerboard pattern down here that represents not having a color on the inside, so we're just going to remove it. And then we'll give him a nice gold frame, and we'll make sure that we're in rectangle mode, so we can go 1, 2. Oh boy. What? Wow, I thought I'd have. Well, that'll work. We're just trying to represent a picture. Something's off. Should be even. Why is it not even? That one needs to move. Why does it want to select both of those? I want the one. Why are you making them move? What? Why are you doing this to me? This is a bug that I have never seen before. Okay. Do that. Zoom out and make sure that that is centered. Yes, good. Okay, so I must have just measured improperly before. But now we've got those in place. It's because that's not centered. 70 from that edge, 70 from that edge. So no, that's centered. Huh. Weird. Messing with my mind. All right. So now I want to set up some columns. We'll go back to this tool. That, and then put black on the inside again, so we can tell the players that these are. Oh, nope, that's a square. Just Control Z that out of there. Let's go with that, and then go extra large with that. All right, so we got a column there, and we got a column there. And can I fit one more in? 1, 2, 3, 2, and a column there. Perfect. Yeah, that'll work. And then we come over to the other side, and there are 3 edge. So there, I will have to move that one. Then there and there. We just zoom in. There we go. All right, so now we got a couple of columns. We got our braziers, which I'm actually going to make a little bit smaller to make them a bit more distinct from our. No. Oh, jeez. Now it wants to select every circle I've made at the same time. Why? Okay. Why are you not letting me? So I want to make it smaller. What? Oh boy, what have I done? Oh my. Oh my. I appear to have made the entire window smaller. Okay. Having just a bit of technical difficulty here. I'm sorry for this. Apparently, if I want to make smaller braziers, I'm just going to have to remake them. Okay. I'm going to switch layers and select something new and then come back and there we go. Okay. Now can I? No. Wow. That's weird. Very weird. And I put it in the wrong spot. Ugh. Well, these are the kinds of things that can happen, but the general idea is there, and I am fine with leaving the braziers at that size. All right, now we need to set up the idea that he's got, well, we need lab equipment. So the next thing to do is to set up a table. which I think we will start using the free art library. So it shows under the premium assets, but if you go to free, then you've got all of this stuff that you can work with. And one of my favorite things that they did for the ability to set stuff up is the Grey Tales Tavern pack. So I'm just going to grab a table. I'm going to put the table down. Oop, I accidentally made another square, but we're just going to grab that, and then now I can adjust things. Okay, and then we make it a little longer. Excellent. Oh, okay. And then another trick that you can do, although I think if I just made that one pixel, there we go. All right. So if you want to set it up wherever, and regardless of if it's on the proper tiles or not, you have to hold down the Alt button, because otherwise it'll snap. See how that's moving? And then if I hold down Alt, now I can put it just wherever I want. So we're going to do that over here. I need to make it one thing longer again in order to get it to fit properly. That looks right. Good. Okay. So now he's got a table. Let's give him another table. Use maybe the other kind. I don't know. Now, if you pull the little dongle on top, you can adjust it, its rotation. And this does not snap. So if you want it to be specific, you have to kind of finagle it. All right. And let's get it there. Let's just give him a nice long table down here. Next to a column. Good. Let's just do a copy paste over here and put there. And this is all just kind of set dressing before we get into the next section. Or actually, let's open that back up. Yeah, that looks suitably weird and massive for some reason. Okay, no, come on, give me the. There we go. We're just gonna shrink that down. Put it there. Knives. Again. Set that there. Maybe give it a little twist. Maybe put a couple of plates out. And I believe the reason why they're showing at their maximum resolution is because I'm working in the map section. If I bring them over to tokens, yeah, this automatically is the appropriate size, and then I can just send it on down to the map layer, but I have to switch back, and then I can do that. Go. That there. Put a plate stack on his main one. Come on. There we go. And go. All right. I'll put that in the middle. All right. So that's a little bit of set dressing. Remember what I said before, less is more. And actually, I am going, oh no. Just gonna, wow, that is supremely annoying that they've got all of those locked together somehow. Can't even select them on their own. That's just so weird. Oh, I wanted, okay, well, I wanted to move this one out anyway. Oh, right, forgot to push Alt. See, it's important to remember. I have to push Alt in order to get it to stay. All right, there, move you there, move you. All right. So this is honestly enough futzing around with this section in order to have it be exactly what we need for really the entirety of this one shot. Like, we have the encounter outside, which is where we'll populate the players when the day comes. Then they will move through the tunnel and into the area where we will have the boss fight. One thing that I'm going to do, which requires changing layers, is I am going to set up the idea that a door will slam down behind them. Now we'll make it a kind of brownish woodeny door. After they enter, to kind of lock them into the space. So I've got that on the GM layer, so only I will be able to see it when the time comes. And then we can do that same thing I did before, where I just right-click on it, and then I can change the layer, and I will send it down to the map layer when the time is appropriate. Now, a couple of other things to set up in this area. So we've got Vigo, who I believe there's a good... It should be... Yes, I think that was the one. No, that's the one. Okay. So that will be our Vigo. This little guy right here. Isn't he cute? And tiny compared to that table. But that's okay. It's a... Well, is that okay? Am I okay with that? That is a massive table. I know how to justify that table. Let's go to... I want to say it's the camp as what I'm looking for. No, okay, that's not the one I was looking for. Basic on Jared. Yarrow. Not there. What was that? Which one is it? Is it Wet Caverns? Ooh, that's good. Stick a frog down there. Dead frog. One over here, too. Want one that... They've added some to this. This is nice. I like this. Under Dungeon Master Essentials? I know that I've had... No. Maybe Orcs, Trolls, and Ogres? Not great. Just under characters? No. Freebies? I know that there's dead people in here somewhere. Although we can stick a polar bear corpse over here. I think that'd be interesting. Sure, it's a large-sized token. Nope. I didn't want to send that to token layer. I want to send that to map layer. We're not gonna be animating the dead in this one. Although it would be kind of funny. You know what? That's a perfect place to hide one of our slimes. That's right. So Dungeon Master Essentials. Yeah. Vigo gets slime. So we're just going to stick a slime in there. We'll put a slime over here. And I haven't quite picked what I want our slimes to be. And that's all just part of the process of what are we looking for. Now, I will be using the books, although there are resources over here for... I was looking up something earlier, but I can clear that out. So you do have the basic monster list on the side that you can look through. And if you really want to, you can open up... D&D Beyond has a great resource for being able to look through very quickly and finding the different levels of creature. They also have the ability to filter by type. So in the top, we're looking for an ooze. So just filtering for ooze. And then question becomes... which one to choose? Right now, I'm thinking that an ochre jelly has a lot of potential. And I don't necessarily want to put them up against something so terrifying that they won't have any chance of beating it, but it is going to be difficult. Like, I could send in a black ooze, or the black pudding, but that seems rather harsh for a bunch of 7th level characters. Because I want to have about 5 oozes. You know what? Here's what we'll do. We'll send in 2 black puddings. So those will be the specialty ones. So yeah, we'll have one come out of the polar bear, and then we'll have one just kind of seep up out of the cracks here. So we're going to go to this, then we can add tint color, and we'll make it black. So that'll kind of darken it a bit, represent our black puddings, which are large creatures. So they get their own... oh, and I'm on token layer, and I want to send these back to GM. There we go. Yeah. Because we want this to kind of be a surprise that, oh no, look, black puddings all of a sudden showed up. And then we'll send in about 3 of the ochre jellies, which... if we go back to... Nope, that's not the one I wanted. If we go back to here, we can give this nice bubbly slime. I think they're also large creatures, but we'll have them start a little bit further away from the action. Have one there. And then let's assign some health before I get too distracted. I heard some great advice that typically for an encounter, at least in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, the balance can be held by maxing out the number of hit dice. So for a black pudding, which I might be able to find in the basic rules, let's see if they already have it. Black pudding, there it is. All right, so let's take a look at its stat block. So we've got large, ooze, unaligned. It's got an armor class of 7, so this thing is ridiculously easy to hit. And then it had the suggested number of hit points is 85, but the calculation that they use in order to come to the idea of 85 is the average of 10d10 and then adding 30. What you can do as the DM is you can throw that out and say, okay, I'm just going to give this monster 130 health. You max out what the hit dice would normally be, and then add that 30. So theoretically, we could do that. We've got 6 players who are fairly combat oriented. They have a healer. This is where we kind of get into the minutia of how much can we get away with doing damage to them versus the amount of damage that they're going to be doing to the creatures. They've got access to a few 3rd and 4th level spells. So I think I don't think we're going to add 2 of these, and we're going to have the ochre jellies, plus we're going to have Vigo, who's going to have a 6th level spell that I have been dying to use, but just haven't gotten the chance to do yet. For the purposes of this, I'm gonna say we're just gonna give them 110 hit points each. And we're just gonna put that into that bar. All right. Now I'm fairly certain where I put it. I push. Okay. So you do that, and it just gives you that nice thing. Can I take you out and no? If I give you a sheet, no, I don't. Nope. Add character. Add character, make it a black pudding. Don't put it in players' journals. Can't be edited by anyone. Save changes. And then we're going to create an NPC. And if I pull over Mr. Black Pudding from there you are. Aha, yes. And that will give us a perfect thing to roll from it. Okay, yeah, and the puddings are going to spread. That'll be nice. If they get hit by slashing or lightning damage. Nice. That'll be fun. How fast can they move? Blind sight 60, speed 20 feet, climb 20 feet. Okay, so it will take them a little bit to get into the fight, and that's kind of important for some of this. All right, so now we've got them, and that'll be stored nicely in here. So we've got our black pudding. And then we're going to do another. Nope. I want to add another character. This will be the Joker Jetty. Save changes. Create an NPC. And then, if I'm not mistaken, I can go down low. R. And O. Joker Jelly. Nice. We can just drag and drop. So max potential HP of 72. I think we're going to go with 65 for them. Again, we're going to have a bunch of these, so we don't want to add too much, but we want to be able to have them do something like survive a fireball. Probably more than once, depending on where party ends up being. I know that there's at least one, probably two melee characters that will want to get into the fray with everything that's going on. So hopefully that'll temper their idea of just throwing a bunch of fireballs at everything. So 65, save. And then what we can do is we can just copy and paste that to different locations. We'll put the black puddings in front because they're the really scary things, and we'll keep the jellies in reserve. We'll put another one over here. Cool. So that'll be our slimes that will be able to come into the fight and really mess with them as things are going on. And it has that same splitting property, so every time you attack it with slashing or lightning damage, it becomes 2 new jellies. Yep. And then those will just keep splitting, so it will encourage them to use their area spells, but they kind of have to figure that out in order to have it work. Okay, so that's monster selection mostly done, because we've got one last thing to consider as we're going through this, and that is we need to make a Vigo. So how are we going to be making a Vigo? Well, do that to start with. Then we create another NPC, and now we give him a name. Shouldn't be capitalized. He's a medium humanoid. He will have so again from the picture that we've seen of Vigo, he is wearing armor. So I'm actually going to say that he's in some form of half plate. So that's a baseline of 16, and then plus Dex, maximum of 2. So we're gonna. He will be the thing that's hard to hit. So we'll give him 17 AC, and we'll call that half plate. Not that it's necessary, because this is for our eyes only. Now, I was going to base him off of a sorcerer, and sorcerers, I believe, have, and we can actually look this up. So if we do that same thing we did before and cross this out, we can go over to classes, then look at sorcerer. Yeah, they get 1d6 per sorcerer, per sorcerer level, and he's going to be a minimum of 13th level, because I want him to have his 1 6th level spell that he's going to be able to cast. So, in order, but 1d6 per sorcerer level is really pathetic. So we're going to bump him up to 1d8. So it's going to be 1d8 plus times 13. So we're at 104. So we're going to start with 104, and then he's going to have a Constitution modifier. Let's give him a Constitution modifier of 2. So that's another 26 for a total of 130. So he's got 130 health. And if we want to write that out, that's 13 times 8 plus 26. And we'll put this in quotations. There we go. All right, speed, just a typical humanoid walking speed of 50 feet. Attributes, he is going to be, I think in order to be in half plate, you need to have a minimum of 13, so we'll just give him a 14. Dex, we already said was 1, so we'll put that at 12. Con, we said was at 2, so that goes up to 14. Wisdom is going to be his only low stat, and we're just going to keep that baseline. Intelligence is going to be pretty up there, so we'll give him a 15, and then Charisma, which is his spellcasting stat, is going to go all the way up to 18. Now, notice that there are no deficits here. That is okay. You are not a player. You are the DM. You don't have to play by the same rules that the players do. We're making Vigo an especially charismatic, intelligent, strong individual, and that's okay. Yes, it's good to play with a little bit of deficiency. That's why he doesn't have a standard wisdom bonus like you'd expect to see with some things. But so we'll, yeah, and he'll still get the bonuses to con and charisma saving throws. Let's see, level 13 proficiency is 5, so he will have a +7 to Constitution, and then a +9 to Charisma. So those are his saving throw bonuses. Skills, he will be trained in Intimidation, so that's a 9. Yes, that's a 9. What else? Deception, we'll also put at 9. One more. And really, unless you were expecting to get into some kind of crazy... Oh, stealth. You know what? We're going to put him a little bit in stealth. So that'll give him a 6. And again, I don't care if these are necessarily on the sorcerer list, because this is just how I envision the character as being. Part of the reason that I'm giving him that stealth bonus is in order to further trick the players as they're coming upon the scene. They're just going to be able to... I'm hoping that what's going to happen is they're going to find the tree. I'm going to put a DC on investigation in order to find the button, which is in a knot on part of the tree that you push in, and then that opens the door. But if you don't push it in, or if you push it in too far, then it will alert him that something's happening. He will have the time to cast the invisibility spell, and he will start shouting at them from across the room as soon as they activate his trap and the door slams shut behind them. So he will be invisible, and it will look like the painting is talking. So they'll think, oh no, we're actually fighting the painting of Vigo. So they're gonna fire a spell or two off at it. Then when he drops his invisibility, he's going to start attacking them as the humanoid. So that'll be kind of the big reveal, is that, whoa, wait a minute, we're not fighting the painting. I'm kind of using their meta knowledge of the character against them after setting up some of what's going on. And we'll see how quickly that they catch on to that, but the idea is that this is kind of where we're going. He's not going to have reactions. I'm not going to give him any legendary actions because he's going to have so many allies. We're not going mythic because, again, we don't need to have him come back after death, which could be funny to do, to set him up in the painting, and then once they kill him the first time, then the mythic action is that now they have to kill the painting as he's sending out kind of spells and things at him. But we're just not going to set him up like that. He's caster level is 13. So, and save DC mod is 17. So he's going to be a tough dude. Doesn't have any vulnerabilities, no resistances, no immunities, no special senses. He is really just a human that we're making a little bit better. And then this, I prefer toggle. And for our purposes, I'm just going to say all whisper and then auto roll. Damage. Show names and rolls, that's fine. Don't care about that. So then we can go up to here and push that. So we're going to go always to GM, and then normal, advantage, disadvantage, and I should do something similar for these guys. I just realized that I did not put all of this in, so we're going to go advantage toggle, always whisper, auto roll. There we go. And same for the jelly. I'm okay with showing players certain roles, but I feel I'm someone who very much feels that there is an absolute purpose behind the use of a DM screen. More often than not, I feel that it is important to have that flexibility to be able to show some roles and not others. Sometimes, like, the dice are so in your favor that you want to give your players a break, and you can't do that if you're rolling in front of the screen. Sometimes you are rolling so terribly that the encounter really doesn't feel like a threat, and you can change a roll or two to be in your favor that wouldn't have been. so that it allows you to do a bit better and put that threat back into it. I say use that sparingly, and we'll see if it comes up during the thing or during the actual live play. But I am of the opinion that as long as you keep it fair to where if you're going to flub in your favor, you should also flub in the party's favor occasionally. That it can be okay. And really, you have to look at that balance for yourself. And some people, there is no balance. It's what the dice say, and that's fine. I'm just of the opinion that there is a time and a place for when that needs to be shown. Okay. So now we've got all that normal, advantage, disadvantage, perfect. Okay. So make that small, and then we've got Vigo here, and he's got the appropriate number of spells. Perfect. So let's pick Vigo some spells. I'm not going to go through the whole idea of challenge rating because who knows. He's also going to have a couple of actions that he can do. Let's bring the sorcerer table back up so that I can see how many spells they should know. So 13 known spells and 6 cantrips. That's a bit excessive, so I'm probably not going to fill in the entire list. We don't need that. A better question would be, do I want to include metamagic? I'm not sure. But we'll leave that off to the side and figure that out in a minute. So let's go over to Compendium again. Let's go over there, and then they should have a list of spells. Great. And these are drag and drop compatible, which is awesome. First one to get is Firebolt. Classic. Now, one that I'm very curious if they have, because it was released in the Elemental Evils Player's Guide, and that was free. They don't. Okay, so I am going to be giving him the spell Tenser's Transformation, which is technically free if you look at it on Roll20, or not Roll20, D&D Beyond. They have it there. And here's another thing. I don't know if this is a sorcerer spell. I don't care if this is a sorcerer spell. I'm basing the general idea around a sorcerer, but I'm making a few adjustments. Notice that he's in half-plate. He is going to be trained in how to use half-plate. He's got way more health than he ever possibly should at this kind of level. So I'm breaking rules. Break rules. It's okay. Just, again, time, place, it works. And it's partially because of how the system is a little broken. The idea of challenge rating, I believe I've seen it said, is mathematically wrong. So, anyway. So yeah, Tenser's Transformation apparently was added in Xanathar's guide, and I don't have one in front of me, but I do know a couple things about it. One, it gives you the ability to be proficient in all melee and melee weapons and armor types. It gives you 50 bonus temporary health, and whenever you deal damage with a melee weapon, you do an additional 2d12 force damage, which is awesome. It's also a concentration spell, so he can be knocked out of it. but it's gonna be cool. And that's why I want to have it on him, because that's kind of going to be the mythic moment of, oh no, things are not looking good for him. One or two of the melee fighters are up in his face, and it's like he's not really going to be able to get away. What's he do? He activates Tenser's transformation and picks up the sword that that's been on his back, which is a great sword. He's going to start slashing at the people with it, and it's going to be doing a ton of damage. It's like, wait a minute, this guy wasn't supposed to be able to do this kind of thing. He's been casting big spells. So, yeah, that's going to be awesome. Okay. So now, let's pick a couple of other ones that look fun. I've got a copy of the Sorcerer spell list open in front of me. Make sure it's all sorted by level. And I'm going to start near the end. So I like to build backwards with most of this, where I'm going to look at the higher level stuff, because that's when you're in a combat like this, you really want to work, like, do big stuff first before there's any question about, like, is this going to make an impact? For the players, it can be good to do some of the smaller-ish spells before getting into the... So you want to, like, burn off legendary resistances. So use, like, the middling spells first in order to have the bad guy go, yeah, no, I don't want to deal with that. And then you pull out the big ones and you surprise him with it. That's player dynamic. But for our purposes, I think I found the perfect spell. Well, it becomes, how mean do I want to be? Because I could pull out Synaptic Static, which is I want to say larger than Fireball, but same damage type, and then has an effect where if you can't shake it, you're lower on rolls for the rest of the fight. That could be really mean, because it's not based on... I think it's an intelligence save. So it more than likely would absolutely hit the entire party in this, and could be really devastating. So I might not want to go with that one. I want to be mean. I don't want to be too mean. There's a very fine line you want to hit with these. All right, so we'll leave Synaptic Static in the background. Kind of... another one that could be very interesting is Dominate Person, which is a different concentration spell, which could really throw everything into chaos. The easy one is just Cone of Cold, but that does a stupid amount of damage. Yeah, that does 8d8 damage in a 60-foot cone. And now, Roll20 has these awesome new features that are still not quite properly implemented. So let's pull out a Cone of Cold, which is that big. So I get that much area of 8d8 cold damage, which would be devastating, to say the least. The reason I say that it's not great is, notice that my cone is getting bigger, but it doesn't say that the number of feet has changed. So yeah, there's a little bit of improvement that needs to be made, or something like that. It has to do with the non-Euclidean nature of the geometry in D&D, where even though the diagonal line is technically longer than the standard straight line along the edges of the grid, um, it's considered the same distance away. So I think the better one to look at is probably. Nope, still says it's only 12 squares. Yeah. They'll need to come up with something where the template stays the same size, even though it's at an angle. Because when it's perfectly straight, it's a incredibly useful tool. But you're supposed to be able to measure from different locations, and it gets a little funky. But anyway, so yeah, that's a lot of power, and he'd be able to do it twice. Well, who's saying that any of the party are going to be in good position for that? Yeah, all right. We'll put a cone of cold on him. What did I do? What did I do with the sheet? I might have accidentally closed the sheet. Well, that's okay. Bring Vigo back. All right. So we're just going to put in, and I know that exists over here. So let's pull up. So we can just drop in. We should be able to. There it is. Drop that in. There it is. Hey, cone of cold. He knows that. Also knows this. We'll make that his 1 5th level spell. No. We're going to do Cone of Cold and Dominate Person. So we'll have the one super scary area damage, and then we can have a moment of, oh no, is my friend going to become my enemy? All right, and then on to 4th level spells. What's a good couple of 4th level spells? Banishment is tempting, but they're just going to come back. I mean, it takes someone out of the fight, potentially. What level is Misty Step? What level are you? 2nd level. Yeah, he needs an escape route just in case. Because there's going to be other spellcasters around who will have access to 4th level spells, and seeing stuff like Wall of Fire, it's good to have ways of getting around that. Dimension Door is another one that could be possible, but I think we're just going to leave it for. Yeah, Blight. Blight's a perfect spell for this situation. Pull that in. That feels like the kind of thing that an evil sorcerer would want to use. I mean, Necromancy is a great one to have. Oh, and he's got access to greater invisibility. I can keep up the charade for longer. That's amazing. Okay, that's what we'll do. Instead of just giving him normal invisibility, we'll give him greater invisibility. Yeah. There we go. So let's just go over what this means for him. You or a creature you touch becomes invisible until the spell ends. Anything the target is wearing or carrying is invisible as long as it is on the target's person. And the only reason the spell would end. Oh, no. What we'll do is we'll give him both. We'll give him normal invisibility and greater invisibility. So we'll have the normal invisibility to start with, because that lasts an hour, and this one has to last only lasts up to a minute. So with the first one, we'll give him. So it doesn't matter how long the party takes to go down the tunnel. They could say they go cautiously, and if he's using greater invisibility, it means he might only have 4 or 5 rounds in combat with it up. Whereas if we start with lesser invisibility and then go to greater somewhere in the middle of the combat, he'll be much harder to get out of it, and he can start throwing in some spells that might not be concentration in order to really mess with people. So yeah, so we'll have greater invisibility as an option, and Blight, which not concentration. Good. So we can do things like use greater invisibility, then cast out a blight at somebody. That'll be awesome. I think we'll just leave him with those two. Oh, another good teleportation power. Give him a Thunder Step, which... no. Okay. So that one is another one that comes out of Xanathar's, so we'll just have to type that in manually. Okay, so we'll just give him Thunder Step. So that's another kind of get out of jail free card, and that leaves some damage behind when he does it, so that's a good one to have. So that'll get him across the room if necessary, and kind of leave the melee people to have to work at it in order to really fight him. Stinking Cloud, I think, is another great addition. What are we up to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've got 5 more I could put in, but I think we're gonna leave it pretty soon. Like, you want to give them options, but you also don't want to overwhelm yourself with the amount of options that you have. They did a pretty good job of simplifying this down in Mordenkainen's Presents Monsters of the Multiverse. You as the Dungeon Master are taking control, and if you're putting yourself in my shoes, I have 3 different creatures with mostly different capabilities that I'm putting into the same combat, and I'm expected to have the same level of prowess with any of them as the players do with their characters. I know this is a one-shot, they've mostly never played with these before, but they only ever have the one thing to keep track of. We have about 20. So giving yourself that little bit of leeway where, okay, I don't have to know exactly what all of these spells are going to be doing, but I know that I can use all of them in whatever situation is necessary. That's kind of where I'm at with this, where it's... we don't want to go too hard into all of his capabilities. Although, now that I'm seeing it, I want to give him Lightning Bolt. So we're going to give him Lightning Bolt. Where is it? We're not going to do Fireball. I like Lightning Bolt better because it's more of a targeted thing. There it is, Lightning Bolt. Okay, so we're going to give him that one. Then that'll be his last 3rd level spell. Could also give him Haste, which would be stupid and funny, but that would preface that with the stupid part. So I could do Web, but Web is very mean. Web is very, very mean to players because of the restrained condition, and I'm already going to be having other things in there that are going to be making attacks against people. It is concentration, so he could be knocked out of it, but restrained as a condition is nasty in 5th edition. So we're going to look past that for other interesting things. Ooh. Okay. We'll go with a mirror image. I don't know if he's going to have time to cast it, because it is 1 action to cast. But in the chance that he does have that, it's a good one to have. Yeah, as we're getting into the lower and lower slots down here, so the 1s, 2s, 3s, I'm half expecting not to be able to even use most of this. Like, for the most part, I would kind of expect the combat to be over as soon as I get to the 3rd level spells. 2nd and 1st, I'm probably never going to get the chance to use. Misty Step is a maybe if I'm out of third level spells for things like Thunderstep. But I think between the use of Cone of Cold, Dominate Person, Tensor's Transformation, which the Tensor's Transformation one is going to be a big one, because that removes the ability to cast spells at all as you are holding concentration on it. So you cannot cast spells. So it turns you into a melee character for a little bit, and that's why it gives you the health buff plus the extra damage on hit. Because you should only still get one attack per round. You get to make it with advantage, but you'll only have the one attack per round, and we should put that in now. So we'll call this his Great Sword. Melee, reach 5 feet to hit. He's got 2, and then plus 5, so 7. And then 1 target, and it will be 2d6 slashing. And then secondary damage is 2d12 force. So you've got advantage for his one attack with this per round. And he will have and it's 2d6 plus 2 slashing, and then 2d12 force. And then we can just click this button whenever it's ready. So that'll be his thing. And if he ever has to make a greatsword attack when he doesn't have Tensor's Transformation up, we can just ignore the force damage. So, like, bring you over to chat real quick, make sure that I'm on 2 GMs so that I don't accidentally spoil this for the players. Okay, so I made a greatsword attack. He rolled a natural 1, but he would have done 10 slashing and 7 force damage. Great. That's lovely. Well done, Vigo. Well done. Anyway, we were looking at spells. Let's give him maybe 1 or 2 level 1 spells, and then call that it for. Nope. Sure, we'll give him Magic Missile. Shield. Shield could be very interesting, and now that I say that out loud, ooh, that could be nasty, because I've already given him, he's got a 17 AC, and a couple casts of Shield could keep him in the fight a lot longer. Ooh. Should I feel bad? No, I shouldn't. That's a way to use up first level spell slots. I'll look at one more first level spell. You know what? Thunder Wave. We'll give him Thunder Wave because that gives a small chance at the end of the fight that he can try and push someone back and try and retreat, which is unlikely because death is not the end, or time is a loop and death is not the end. I will return. I believe that was his last words canonically. All right, and then we'll grab a cantrip other than just Firebolt. I'm not taking True Strike because that would be stupid. Poison Spray. If he's somehow disarmed. Let's see. Poison Spray, Poison Spray, Poison Spray. And one more, just for good measure. Is it Chill Touch? Yeah, we'll give him Chill Touch. Because that seems evil and weird. Which is just what we want for a character like this. Okay, Chill Touch. And there you have it. That is what I would call a successful character sheet for our main villain of this encounter, Vigo the Carpathian. We've got him set up. Did I remember to give him invisibility? No, I didn't. So I guess technically it's not right. HI plane out invisibility. There we go. All right. So he'll probably go into his fight one spell down, but that's okay because it's a second level spell. It's probably the only second level spell he's going to use. I'm someone who prefers to count down instead of up, so I will fill those up and then have them be counting down. But yeah, that's how we're gonna get it done. So we've got ochre jelly, we've got the black pudding, we've got Vigo all ready to go. And I think that is really all the information that we need in order to get this going. I've talked a little bit extra about the plans. If you're interested, feel free to watch the entire live play, which will be going up later. I obviously don't have it ready now because we haven't played it yet. So that will be ready not too long after this video goes up. But thank you so much for watching. We will be doing a breakdown of the live play. It'll probably be quite a bit more heavily edited than this was, and the live play will go up pretty much unedited. And you'll see it all from my perspective, just like you did now. But other than that, this is Philemon, signing out.